Skol Nation, stop right now. US Bank Stadium just erupted with breaking news, and 3 massive developments are shaking Minneapolis to its absolute foundation. The first bombshell is already confirmed. Kyler Murray is officially the Week 1 starting quarterback. That leaves former first-round pick J.J. McCarthy in developmental territory, while an undrafted standout just forced his way into the receiver rotation, and a defensive starter is staring down cut-down day. If you skol louder than you breathe and want to bury the Packers in the comments, hit like and subscribe right now. We start with the preseason breakout that has Kevin O'Connell totally rethinking this depth chart. Whispers turned into footprints on the field in New York, and the name on everyone's lips is Myles Price. It took exactly 1 preseason game for this young playmaker to demand a significantly bigger offensive role. The Minnesota Vikings entered their preseason opener against the New York Giants boasting plenty of wide receiver depth, but with very few settled jobs behind superstar Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and veteran acquisition Jawan Jennings. The 24-year-old Myles Price stepped directly into that battle during Minnesota's 13-10 victory and completely dominated the spotlight. He caught 4 of 4 targets for 51 yards, leading the entire team in both receptions and receiving yards. More impressively, he delivered the Vikings' only touchdown of the game on a brilliant 1-yard, one-handed contested grab from Carson Wentz. Price initially earned his roster spot as an undrafted rookie in 2025 primarily because of his electric return abilities on special teams. Now, his second-year mission is convincing head coach Kevin O'Connell that his burst, toughness, and separation skills belong in the regular receiver rotation on Sundays. That one-handed snag immediately demanded replay after replay, especially with Justin Jefferson hyping him up on the live broadcast. Jefferson was seen shouting praise repeatedly, validating the young wideout in front of the entire fan base. But his earlier 28-yard reception was perhaps even more telling for the coaching staff. Wentz trusted the 5'9" receiver on a tightly contested throw, and Price won through physical contact before racking up crucial yards after the catch. O'Connell pointed toward this precise growth since spring practices, openly labeling Price as one of Minnesota's most improved players. With Addison managing an injury entering camp and limited snaps left by Jennings and rookie Ty Felton, Price proving he can produce on offense effectively hands Minnesota 2 critical roles inside a single active roster spot. When you look across the NFL landscape, finding reliable depth that can win one-on-one battles in traffic without demanding heavy schematic protection is the difference between a stalled drive and extending championship momentum. Price brings a physical edge that complements the finesse of this room, turning routine underneath throws into explosive chunk plays. That level of execution in August forces defensive coordinators to respect every level of the field when scheming against Minnesota. His development allows Kevin O'Connell to deploy more 4-receiver sets and empty backfields without losing blocking tenacity on the perimeter. This kind of versatility gives the coaching staff massive flexibility when building weekly game plans against top-tier secondaries in the NFC North. It also elevates internal competition, pushing every single pass catcher on the fringe of the depth chart to match that same relentless intensity every single rep in practice. Price showed he is not just a return specialist surviving on special teams, but a legitimate weapon capable of moving the chains against starting-caliber defensive backs. Inside the film room, the coaching staff noticed how smoothly Price transitions from catching the ball in traffic to accelerating upfield against physical press coverage. That quick twitch ability creates immediate separation on critical third-down conversions when opposing linebackers drop into underneath zone brackets. By consistently fighting through defensive contact, Price proves that size does not limit his ability to execute high-leverage plays in tight red zone windows. His emergence provides crucial insurance for the entire pass-catching core as Minnesota prepares for a grueling 17-game regular season schedule. Do you think Myles Price deserves WR4 snaps when the regular season kicks off? Drop your thoughts below, and if you love seeing undrafted players make the leap, smash that like button right now. Yet, as exciting as this offensive spark is, the real earthquake inside the building is happening at the quarterback position. A move months in the making just took a decisive turn, and the decision everyone is talking about is Kyler Murray taking the starting job over J.J. McCarthy. Numerous voices across the NFL community believe 2024 first-round draft pick J.J. McCarthy's future in Minnesota became completely clouded the moment the Vikings named free agent signing Kyler Murray the Week 1 starter. However, NFL insider Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated revealed that Kevin O'Connell hasn't given up on developing McCarthy. Breer reported that O'Connell intends to keep developing the young passer, noting that McCarthy has handled the demotion maturely, which keeps his long-term door slightly open. The front office focused on doing right by this specific 2026 roster. Murray operates on a one-year deal containing a no-tag provision, meaning Minnesota cannot franchise tag him next offseason. While Murray enters September as the undisputed QB1, his injury history remains a massive talking point. In his final season with the Arizona Cardinals, Murray made just 5 starts before being shut down in December 2025 with a foot injury. Meanwhile, veteran Carson Wentz sits on the depth chart, ready to elevate if a roster split occurs. McCarthy holds very little trade value after spending his entire rookie season recovering from full meniscus surgery and struggling through 10 starts in his second year. General manager Nolan Teasley and O'Connell both insisted McCarthy remains an important piece they will continue to coach. Insiders noted the staff named Murray the starter early so they could tailor the scheme aggressively around his dual-threat legs, stretching defenses on wide-zone bootlegs and creating open windows for Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and TJ Hawkinson. Now, Murray turns his full focus to preparing for the regular season opener against the Green Bay Packers on September 13th. This offensive philosophy shift fundamentally alters how opposing defensive coordinators must structure their game plans. Defensive ends can no longer crash the edge recklessly without risking Murray breaking loose for 40-yard scrambles along the sideline. Linebackers will be forced to freeze on play-action fakes, opening massive throwing lanes behind them across the middle of the field. That split-second hesitation by opposing safeties is all Justin Jefferson needs to create 5 yards of separation downfield. Having a dynamic quarterback who can extend plays outside the pocket creates an entirely new dimension that Minnesota has lacked for years. At the same time, the pressure on Kevin O'Connell to design an offense that protects Murray from unnecessary hits will dictate the ceiling of this entire season. Every rollout and design keeper will be scrutinized by the entire league as Minnesota attempts to establish dominance in a brutal division. Furthermore, having a mobile passer forces opposing defenses to assign a dedicated linebacker spy, immediately removing an extra defender from deep pass coverage. This schematic advantage allows Kevin O'Connell to dial up explosive vertical concepts that exploit single high safety looks throughout the second half. If Murray commands the huddle with efficiency and minimizes turnover risks, Minnesota's offense possesses the firepower to rank among the highest scoring units in football. The locker room now rallies around a battle-tested veteran who understands the relentless pressure of leading a high-stakes franchise. Is benching McCarthy the right call for Minnesota's playoff hopes, or should the franchise have stuck with the young draft pick? Let me know in the comments below. But while the offense locks in its starting general, the defensive side of the football just delivered a harsh reality check to a former fan favorite. A move 3 years in the making has reached its breaking point, and the identity everyone is worried about is linebacker Ivan Pace Jr. After a summer spent on very shaky roster ground, Ivan Pace Jr.'s time with the Minnesota Vikings appears all but over following a rough preseason dud against the New York Giants. The 25-year-old linebacker logged 4 tackles during Saturday's 13-10 win, including 3 solo tackles and 1 tackle for loss, but the glaring errors around those numbers painted a troubling picture. Pace took an awful pursuit angle on Devin Singletary's 40-yard screen conversion on a 3rd and 23 breakdown. Just 2 snaps later, 6'4" rookie Malachi Fields physically beat the 5'10" Pace in coverage for a contested touchdown. The defensive rotation told the true story. Blake Cashman and Eric Wilson took first-team snaps, relegating Pace to the second unit alongside second-round rookie Jake Golday. Pace captured fan adoration back in 2023 when he recorded 102 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and an interception as an undrafted rookie. Over 3 seasons, he compiled 236 total tackles and 6.5 sacks, but his playing time plummeted to just 6 starts in 2025. Brian Flores has found it increasingly difficult to trust Pace due to missed tackles and severe coverage limitations in space. Even when Jamal Adams went down with a knee injury against New York, creating an open hybrid opportunity, Pace failed to capitalize. With Golday providing size and range, Pace's $3.52 million restricted free agent salary makes him an obvious candidate for release or trade to generate immediate salary cap relief with 0 dead money before the August 30th cut-down deadline. In Brian Flores' complex defensive system, linebackers must be elite diagnostic thinkers who can shed offensive linemen while dropping into deep zone coverage. When an off-ball linebacker repeatedly gets targeted by opposing offensive coordinators in passing situations, the entire scheme becomes vulnerable to quick seam routes and misdirection screens. Modern NFL offenses ruthlessly isolate size mismatches in the red zone, making it nearly impossible to hide physical limitations inside the 20-yard line. The front office recognizes that freeing up over $3 million in cap space provides critical flexibility to address defensive depth or make an in-season trade acquisition. Defenses that compete for championships cannot afford blown assignments on routine underneath checkdowns or misread gap fits during crucial short yardage downs. Brian Flores demands absolute discipline from every single position group, and failing to execute fundamentals in the preseason sends an alarming signal to the coaching staff. As younger, more athletic linebackers demonstrate superior lateral quickness and sideline-to-sideline pursuit, veteran status alone will not protect anyone from losing their roster spot. The standard in Minnesota has elevated, and every defensive rep carries massive consequences for player survival. Pace has upcoming joint practices and 2 preseason games left, starting with the Baltimore Ravens at US Bank Stadium to save his roster spot. Do you think Brian Flores should keep Pace for depth, or is it time to cut ties? Drop your verdict below and hit that like button to show your support for the purple and gold. 3 massive storylines, one defining preseason crossroads for Minnesota. Myles Price is pushing for offensive snaps, Kyler Murray is locked in to run the offense against Green Bay, and Ivan Pace Jr. is fighting for his NFL survival. This roster is shifting rapidly from developmental experiments toward ruthless, win-now execution under Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores. The NFC North will be decided by discipline, depth, and whether this revamped offense can outscore division rivals. Now here is what I need from Viking Nation. Smash that like button if you believe Kyler Murray can lead Minnesota to a deep playoff run. Comment below with your exact prediction for the Week 1 showdown against the Packers. And hit subscribe right now with notifications on, because our coverage will keep you ahead of every single roster move. But stay locked in, because 2 huge cliffhangers are unfolding. Inside the building, joint practices against the Baltimore Ravens this week will officially determine if Ivan Pace Jr. gets cut before the final preseason whistle. Meanwhile, across the border, the Green Bay Packers are actively restructuring defensive contracts to prepare an aggressive counter-scheme specifically designed to contain Kyler Murray's legs. Skol Nation, the battle for the NFC North is officially underway. Hit subscribe, stay loud, and let us ride together.